Hey everyone, how are you going? Today I'm going to bring you a Goku GT from the next set, BT17 I think it is. Just going to give you a deck profile from it and my spin on the deck and how it can be played. I just realized I don't have a secret in here, so I guess I'll add that at the end to give you a bit of a surprise. I don't know if it'll be much of a surprise with secret we're running, but still we'll give it a bit of a go. So, Goku GT is a kind of unique deck. So first of all, you gotta play your Unison for free at the start of the game. And then when you attack, you choose one Saiyan card in your hand and you place it under your Unison. If you do that, you get to draw 2 cards, which is really cool. So let's have a look at the Unison to start off with. So it has Empower Red 10, which is pretty strong. So it basically means if you play another Unison and you already have a Unison on field, a red Unison on field, you can give up to 10 markers to the new Unison, depending on how many markers the previous Unison had. Anyway, this Unison can attack as a 15k body, so it can't really just be swung into super easily at the start of the game. Maybe we'll have a read. So, auto, if this card has 4 more markers on it when this card is played, draw one to choose up to 1 red battle card. One of your red cards and it gets 1k, or up to one of your red leaders and it gets 5k power for the turn. Sorry, that was terrible reading in English. But yes, when you play it, you gotta draw one, give one of your cards 5k power for the turn. It's got to activate main for 0, where you place one Saiyan card from your hand under this card, then draw one. Then add 1 marker to this card for each card under it up to 3. So if you just did this activate main on your first turn, it will gain 1 marker. If you did it later on, it will gain more. So that's the Unison. The Unison gets a lot of markers on it. So we'll go over the Unison again a bit later. But the leader awakens when you have 7 or more cards under your Unison or 4 or less life. Sorry, when your Unison has 7 or more markers. So that's generally turn 2 you can awaken. And the awaken simply just draw 2. It's got auto when this card attacks, draw 1 on the awaken side. Activate main if you don't have the Unison. You can play the Unison from your drop with a marker on it. Then activate main once per turn, Spirit Boost 10. If you have 5 or more energy, play 1 red Son Goku GT with an energy cost of 8 from your hand against 5k power for the turn. So that's basically, looks like we're playing the new SR from this deck. Has Deflect for 3 energy. If you have 4 or more energy, you can play this card from under your Unison. It's got Activate Main Limit 1. Choose one of your red Unison cards with 10k power or more. Place this card under it from your hand and add a marker to the chosen card. So this card, it does neg enhance, so you don't replace it, but it can give like basically any valid red Unison in this game a marker, which is really cool because red loves to keep the Unisons on board. And it's quite a generic card because the activate main to play it doesn't need it, and it's a 30k beater once you do play for 3. But it also has this Spirit Boost 3 effect where you choose all your opponent's battle cards, gains and they get neg 30k power for the turn, and this card gains triple attack for the turn. So for 3 energy and Spirit Boost 3, this is basically a ball wipe, but you can also use it to give markers to Unisons earlier in the game. So this is a really good card in like generic red decks, so it's going to be extremely powerful. We'll talk about Pan now. So Pan's another new SR for this deck, and it's not as strong as the other SR, but you can use it quite effectively for free defense in this deck. So it's got Activate Main Limit 1, Spirit Boost 1, if you have 2 or more energy, play this card from under your Unison. So you're just playing it for basically for free, and it's a 5k blocker. Nothing else too special about it, so it'll just basically block 1 attack, which is pretty cool. Then Activate Main Limit 1 for 2, if your leader is a Son Goku GT, play up to 1 Son Goku GT and 1 Trunks GT, both red with 50k power or less from under spaceship or vessel in your Unison area. So that's basically these options here. I don't particularly think this effect is too good myself, but if you're playing, as you can see with Heartfelt, if you're playing, there's a red-yellow Goku GT that you can play, which can make it quite spicy, having this, but you'll need to run like enough copies to see it before you awaken for it to really be worth it. We'll just keep going across the cards. So this Super Saiyan Son Goku soaring through space, when you play, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, it gets neg 20k for the turn. And then auto, you choose 1 spaceship or vessel in your Unison area when this card attacks. Place up to 1 Saiyan card from your hand or drop area under the chosen card. So, what's really cool about this is, see this pan that you play for free? If you run out of these pans, you can basically just get them back off this, which is really cool. So that's something I like. Just allows you to basically recycle stuff whenever. You can put one of your SRs, if you like combo it away or something, under there. So it just basically allows you to get so much free value after, like, in such a long span of time. And then you play this card from 1 for 1 energy if you have 3 or more energy. You play it from under your Unison. Next, we'll go on to this Trunks. This Trunks I have very mixed feelings about. So, first of all, I like it. So, it's for if your opponent has 1 or more energy, you play this card from under your Unison for 1 energy. So, it has Barrier. Barrier threats are always really cool to have. It has the auto when you play it. You neg one of your opponent's battle cards by 10k power, which is cool. And it's got a permanent, which is kind of weird. And I don't 100% know how I feel about it. But while this card is in rest, your opponent can't attack your Unison cards. I think this is mainly for if you go second on turn 1 to kind of just protect that Unison. Because realistically, your Unison's only going to have like 4 markers on it. And if your opponent's going second has like a bit of pressure, they can quite easily clear that Unison, like against Gogeta, Xeno for example, and that can be quite problematic if I'm being 100% honest. If they clear that Unison that early, so that's probably why this exists. But at the same time, I don't think this is enough to stop a deck like Gogeta from just killing a Unison too. So yeah, I think it's quite, as the rating says, I think it's quite an average card, and I prefer the other 1-drop Gokus and Trunkses. So this Goku, when you play it, you place 1 Saiyan card from your hand under your Unison, and then you get to draw 1 and add a marker to the card. So you basically, your Unison, you play this from under your Unison, your marker gains a card, and you like cycle through 1 card as well. So you basically put like other cards that you want to play from your Unison under it, which is really cool. It's got activate main limit 1. If you have 2 more energies, you can play this card from your Unison, and it's a 15k crit. And then this Trunks is basically the same thing, but it's a blocker, and auto is the same thing, and the activate main is the same thing. So these are pretty cool cards. I really like both of them. I like having these relatively cheap blockers that come out for the deck, which is really cool. Now, before I go on to these cards, I'm going to show the other card that we try and play this deck relatively early, which is Adventures Advent. So it has activate main limit 1, choose 1 spaceship Vessel of Hope in your Unison area and place 1 Saiyan card from your hand under it. Then you draw 1 and add 1 marker to the chosen card. So this is your ideal turn 1 play. And basically you want to do this for 1, like pay 1 for this on turn 1, and then you want to use this effect to add a card under your Unison. So the Unison will then go to 2 markers, and then if you're going first, you want to then tick up your Unison, put another card under, and then it'll gain another 2 markers, so it'll go to 4 markers on turn 1. Or if you're going second, your leader will put another card under your Unison, so it'll go up to 5 markers. So it's pretty hard to clear that Unison once it gets to 5 markers on turn 1 with a Pan's Advent on the field. But yeah, let's talk about these bad boys here. So this is a starter deck. Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku GT, which has X Evolve for 1 red. You place 1 card from your hand in your drop area, and then you X Evolve on top of a red Son Goku GT with an energy cost of 4 or more. And it has a really cool auto. When one of your cards attack, this card gains 5k power for the duration of the turn. Then if this card powers 40k or more, this card gains triple strike for the duration of the turn. So yeah, basically it becomes a really big triple strike beater, and it kind of just sits there on your board, and your opponent has to kind of just like look at it and be like, oh no, this is a big problem. So it's pretty cool to have. And then you have Triple Flash. Now Triple Flash is really cool, so X Evolve for 1 on top of a red Son Goku GT with an energy cost of 5 or more. It has Deflect. It also has an auto when you play this card, you draw 2, and you can't activate X Evolve skills for the duration of the turn. And then it has really cool permanent. So if this card's power is 40k or more, and your leader is a red Saiyan, your opponent may not activate counter skills during battles where this card is attacking. So if you kind of just sit there with this broken limits on turn 3, and you push with like other cards on the field, and you get them down to 3 life, you can then X Evolve on top of broken limits with a Triple Flash, and then swing for game with that, because this is going to get a lot of markers, which is it's a pretty cool combo. I really like having it, and this also having Deflect is really cool. Unfortunately, it can be hit by Freeze's charismatic villain, but green's not super relevant at the moment. Anyway, and then because we're playing because stuff like evolves off Goku GTs, and this guy can, when you X evolve over him, he's automatically 25k power. I decided that Heartfelt Plea is probably a good idea to run, because like in theory, what you could do is you can on turn 3 you play Son Goku, this 4 cost, and then you X evolve on top of this guy like straight away, and then you'll go, I don't know, you'll play this, swing with it. You could, in theory, get like a new ruler out, second swing, Bardock, swing twice, leader, swing, like it doesn't matter, the leader's not awakened, get a big triple strike swing into this awaken, Heartfelt Plea, another big triple strike swing in. So you can do a fair bit. And then if you already have like other bodies on the board, like a Goku from the turn before, then it looks even prettier. You can even play a Pan and just swing with the Pan to basically give this guy 5k power, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. So that's kind of like the Goku GT engine. Then we'll go over to the other cards I have decided to put into the decks. First of all, I'll go over Unison stuff, and I'll keep you waiting with the other stuff that you kind of see in there that looks pretty spicy. So, of course, we have 3 Yamcha Merciless Barrage. So Unison's going to have so many markers on it that Yamcha's kind of like a no-brainer, because you'll always be able to use Yamcha, and same with New Ruler. These kind of no-brainers. The other one is Difference of Status. So if your Unison goes unchecked, it will legitimately get up to like 30 markers. Because as I said, turn 1 you can get to 5 markers, so turn 2 you can get to 10 markers, right? So Difference of Status is going to be a really insane card. I feel like it's going to be banned, limited, or some errata to it because of how stupid it will be with this deck. Like this deck right now, I've got it as a really weird, like mid-range OTK kind of build. But you could legitimately run 4 Difference of Status in this deck and have it as like a control deck. Or like a more mid-range kind of grindy deck, and Difference of Status will give you so much value, because you basically on swing you can kill something, like instead of negating the attack you just kind of kill whatever is attacking, which is really ridiculous. Something that you don't really see happen for free, and because Spirit Brew doesn't matter because Unison has like 20 markers, it'll be a bit of a problem. Then, like, just our other generic negates in the deck, we have 2 Violent Rays, and we have 2 Testing the Opposition. So those are kind of like your generic ratios in a red deck. This could be Keep Vegeta Imposing Presence. I just feel like a more stop negate is probably better in this deck, because then you can, like, stop their turn besides their small swings, and then you have blockers for those smaller swings, which I like. I like the idea of that, at least. And then we've got 4 Raditz Super Combo. Raditz is just the best generic red Super Combo in the deck in the game, so we run 4 of those, and then we run our 1 Fighting Against Fate. And now the spice, or the questionable cards, is the 4 Explosive Demon Wave and the 4 Sensu Bean. So I don't know if many of you guys have seen it, but Legends Carrick posted a video maybe like a month ago where he was playing a blue-yellow Mecha Freeze list that ran 4 Sensu Beans and 4 Zamasu check lands. And it's kind of going off that idea where it's like, look, realistically, I just need to see a check land by turn 2 if I want to kill turn 3, or by turn 3 if I want to kill turn 4, right? Like, I just need to be able to charge this and on my kill turn, as long as I have that 1, I'm happy to miss 1 energy, like, have 1 energy exhaust any of my other turns, because like my curve isn't that important. It's just kind of the turn I want to kill, I want to have that 1 blue energy available so I can continuously Sensu Bean. And because this deck cycles through enough, it will see all of its Sensu Beans, kind of like how Mecha Freezer does. And then it kind of just at that point came to, okay, what card do we run as that next spot kind of thing? Is that like yeah, what card do we run as that blue-red check land? And I decided Explosive Demon Wave is probably not the worst idea. So, first of all, just we've seen in yellow like how big a counter is. And this is definitely worse than Swift Retaliation Cooler. Like, there's no other way to put it. This is worse than Swift Retaliation Cooler. But it's still pretty decent. Like, 3 energy and you counter a battle card speak, so that's like Topo, that's Oceanus, that's Riposte, that's Baby Hatch. So it's something that like you kind of just like you charge it, and then your opponent kind of has to think about it. And if you can swing like a bunch while still having 3 energy open for Explosive Demon Wave, they kind of have to be really scared about this card. So, and that's the entire purpose of it. Because the other thing is like, it's not that like you're forcing them to play a negate, like a floodgate, like a topper, right? And then that goes counter. It's kind of, if you swing at the leader with like your broken limits, which is probably at some point in turn like a 45k triple strike, and you swing with that, and they're only on 3 life, that they're forced to like use a sparking negate or something along those lines, because they have to use an extra card negate. They can't use a battle card negate, or explosive demon wave will force that attack through. So I like the idea of it. And the other thing is, it doesn't clog your hand too much when cards like Broken Limits force you to discard when you X evolve, and then you have like your Raditz super combo to bottom deck stuff. So it will surprisingly won't clog your hand too much. And then for Sensor Beans, of course, we have like dual attackers, and we have stuff like Broken Limits, and Triple Flash, which require you to have a certain amount of power to get an effects off. And we also have Triple Attacker of this guy. This card is like ridiculously strong in terms of that. I love how crazy this is as a 30k, or if you play it off later, 35k Triple Attacker. That like you can bean onto. That seems like so much value to me. But yeah, like this deck just has enough ways to look at it, such that bean just becomes immense value. And then let's go pick the secret rare we want, card rarity. Where is SCR? Pick the secret rare we want. If you've been following along like with what I'm saying, the secret rare choice probably won't surprise you too much. But in case it does, we're scrolling past all the playable secret rares, and we're choosing Hyper Evolution Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. So what Hyper Evolution does is you X evolve for 1 red, but you have to place 2 cards from your hand to the drop. So that's kind of like you place your uncombable cards. So that's like you get rid of your Explosion Demon Waves and stuff like that. Or instead of X evolving to play this card, you can simply just play it off your leader. But anyway, has an auto when this card attacks against 5k power for the duration of the turn, and then if this card's power is at 60k power or more, it deals 1 damage to your opponent's life. So the basic premise of where this deck kind of has the OTK power is entirely behind this Hyper Evolution Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. So while this card, like while there's so many goddamn answers to this card, your opponent can't, I guess, they have to, playing this deck, they have to have that answers, otherwise you can just kind of kill them. So if you go first, then on your turn 3, you see this in your hand, and you tap 1, and you've like charged Explosive Demon Wave on like turn 1 or 2, and you tap 1 for this, you tap a second for this, you start swinging, like you Sensor Beam once or twice onto this, so this gets like, I don't know however much power you want to, just say this gets like 1 Sensor Beamed, plus you swung with like a new ruler or a Yamcha that you've played earlier, and one of these other guys that you played from turn before, or a Pan, right? This will get up to 45k relatively easily. You X evolve onto Hyper Evolution, and then at that point you have 1 energy untapped because you beamed, and you've only tapped 2 energy this turn, right? If you have more beans, you've got more plays you can do. But this says when it attacks, gave 5k power, so it only needs to be on 55k power, so you only need to have plus 15 when this does its first attack, because then if this card's power is at 6k or more, it deals 1 damage to your opponent's life, so it will deal 1 damage and then be a 60k swing, which basically deals another damage, so every time it swings, your opponent's basically taking 2 life. Then activate main, you can place 2 red cards from your hand and you drop, switch this card to active mode. By turn 3, you're gonna like, you have at least done 1 damage with your leader. You probably would have played like a crit Goku on turn 2, done another damage that way. And then with the other swings, you probably would have done another damage with your leader that turn, another damage with the crit Goku, at least, or like a Yamcha or something like that. Fighting against Fate New Ruler. They're probably on 4 to 3 life at the time you go to play Hyper Evolution. And then with Hyper Evolution, you're swinging like two red cards in your hand, put in your drop. I'm saying by the time you play this card on turn 3, you probably don't have too many cards in hand. You probably only had like 10 cards in hand, and you had to play this, so you had to discard 2 cards. But you'll probably, or maybe you had 11 cards, right? So you'll probably have enough cards to get this to attack like 3 or 4 times, right? And then once you attack 3 or 4 times, that's 3 burn damage, plus I had to out combo all the other attacks, otherwise that's 4 damage. So it's like, while you're not having like too many you'll be discarding basically your entire hand to push for game with this card, but it allows you to discard your entire hand to push full game on turn 3. And then it's like, if your opponent's ready for this card on turn 3, it's fine. You can do the same thing, but go into a triple flash, and triple flash's attack can't be negated, and you draw 2 cards when you play it, and that's like a 40k triple strike, so your opponent just lost a bunch of cards in hand. And then you still have difference of status, Sensu Bean's Violent Raise to rely on defensively, and then turn 4 you can come out with this guy, wipe their entire board, still got 1 energy open. Alright, well then swing with this guy twice, and after the 3rd attack, X-Evolve into this, or go back into another triple flash. So it gives you a lot of options, this deck, and it's at 54 cards. I say this deck probably wants to stay close to 50, even though it cycles a lot. But you're just basically, like, just having the Hyper Evolution is basically like a really cool option. But you can also always run Vegeta or Pan in this deck. Both work. Both really good. I would say if anything you run Vegeta, because Unison's become more of a problem going to next set. Like, for example, if you're playing a Mirror and you play Hyper Evolution, it's just going to be difference of status into Oblivion, right? Or like Yamcha Merciless Barrage. You can always run, like in a best of 3, you'll probably want to have strategies of U7 to run in the Mirror, to run into like other red decks. But that's the deck list. I hope you guys enjoyed my take on the deck. I think having it with like all the blue stuff and beans is pretty cool. It's probably not optimal, but I always love to see at the start of each set what decks I can kind of throw Bean into, because Bean inherently is the most broken card in this game, because it skews your turns, right? So like by running check lands plus Bean on turn, like by playing 1 Bean, you've kind of evened out the amount of energies you're meant to have at that certain turn. Your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Bean basically is just like a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th free energy that you get to use that like other decks don't get to use. So it's one of the most fundamentally broken cards in the game. But for that reason, it's just, you got to try shoving it into every deck you possibly can. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Next video will probably be, I'll probably have a look at that Toa deck. I have something special planned, but right now I'm in COVID lockdown, so I'm not feeling 100%. Brain's a bit fuzzy, so I don't really want to like try and get that what I was planning up and running at the moment, because I want to make sure my head's 100% there, because it's a really cool idea that can hopefully everyone will really enjoy. So yeah, that's the deck. I'll bring you guys the Toa deck next. I think that looks really interesting. To me, it's not very good, but it looks hella interesting, so it'll be great to bring you guys the spice there. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll have to catch you on the flip side. See ya.